Carmel Cipollone, 5 minutes.
Mr Speaker, I just want to refer back to the member Simon O'Connor's comments where he said that in fact the National MPs had not been whipped to vote in one particular way on this issue. I think that member needs to be conscious of the fact that they do not have a collective conscience on this issue, because there have been different voting patterns in the past. And actually, Mr Speaker, previous National MPs who've spoken on this bill have made it known in this House that in fact they have been whipped on this particular issue to vote in favour of this bill, Mr Woodhouse. We have not been whipped on this side of the House. We just happen to all agree on this side of the House. However, they have stated really clearly that they have been made to vote in one particular way. And if we reflect on the 4 other times in the past 10 years when similar bills have come to the House, we see that there are current National MPs who are being forced to vote in a way that doesn't reflect the way they have voted in the past. So who are those MPs? We've got Bill English, who 3 times in the last 10 years has voted against similar bills, Jerry Brownlee, who 2 times in the last 10 years has voted against similar bills, Nick Smith, 2 times against, Chester Borrows, 2 times against, Chris Finlayson, 1 time against, Alfred Ngaro against, Tim McIndoe against twice, and Sam Lotuinga against twice. And today, unfortunately, the national government, even though they talk about choice, have taken the choice away from their MPs to exercise their conscience with respect to this issue, Mr Speaker. So I think that needs to be the place that we start. Just a few facts to start this debate off, Mr Speaker. Can I just reflect for myself just on an experience I had yesterday, talking to about 100 Victoria University students about what it's like to be a politician, and talking about the realities of being a parent and a politician. And at the end of my speech, we had question and answer. And one of the questions that came from the floor was, how do you have any time with your family and with your children? It must be so difficult being a politician and being able to spend time with them. And I said, yes, it is, but actually it's become increasingly difficult for all New Zealanders to have time with their families. Unfortunately, it's not just us as politicians that struggle with that, it is our people who are out there working the grassroots jobs in the factories, sometimes 2 to 3 jobs a week, who have no time with their families. The reality is we are a time-poor society. And here this national government is promoting a bill which will take away one of the very few days where actually families get to spend that time together, Mr Speaker, and I think that that is shameful. When we look at the days that we do have dedicated to time with families, where actually there are a few days where our stores, our shops cannot be open, all we currently have, Mr Speaker, is Good Friday, Easter Sunday, Christmas Day and the morning of Anzac Day. And how long will it last for all 3.5 of those days? And that's all we give to families. That's all they can be assured of with regards to time they can spend with their families. And now today we're about to pass a bill that will remove one of those days, Mr Speaker, and as I said before, that is shameful. Mr Speaker, we keep hearing from the other side about choice. We heard Brett Hudson talk about the choice of council because they are passing the buck here. The government, knowing that they wouldn't have the numbers to do it in the House, are passing it on to council to make the decision. So they're saying it's going to be the choice of council. Councils are saying they don't want that decision. They're saying it's about choice for businesses, and they're saying it's about choice for employees. Well, actually, it won't be the choice of employees. How will an employee be able to go to their boss and say, particularly think of the person who might be on a 90-day trial period, how can they go to their boss and say, I'm sorry, I know you want me to work on Easter Sunday, but actually for religious reasons, I'm not going to do that. Will they make it past the 90 days if they say that to their boss? Good question. Good question. No, they won't. This bill doesn't protect vulnerable workers. This makes workers more vulnerable, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I think it is shameful that they have taken the right away from their members to vote on this very important matter, Mr Speaker. And Mr Speaker, we will not be supporting this bill on this side of the House, not because we've been whipped to vote in one particular day away, but because, Mr Speaker, we do not agree with what the national government is proposing here.
I call Ian McKelvey.